And good morning. It is 20 minutes after 9 o'clock. And joining us in studio this morning, of course, as I teased earlier, County Commissioner Will Cavin. And, of course, also Tim Jennings joining us as well here. Good morning, gentlemen.
Morning,
How y'all
Mike.
doing today?
Good, great.
Good,
Doing
good.
great. Beautiful day out there. And
It is.
as your weather forecast, let's just hope it doesn't get as windy. It would be nice if we'd get some moisture. Snow, rain, something for our guys.
Well, they were teasing us like the beginning of this week, like maybe Saturday, but that dried up about Wednesday. And so I don't know. It's New Mexico. Wait around. It'll just show up on you when you least expect it.
Right.
Well, on our side at the ranch and stuff, we after all that rain we had in late May and June and all that, we haven't had any more. And so it's real dry out there, and it's crazy to have the wettest year ever, I think, and then turn back around. And
we were kind of hopeful for a good winter here, and now it's not boding so well here. So,
No, it's not.
Hopefully the mountains are getting some rain at least, maybe. I don't know. They get a little bit better weather.
I think they're getting a little more snow up on the mountain, which is good for
That's good for us
them.
and good for everybody,
Yeah.
too, because that all comes down, doesn't it? I think some of that water eventually trickles down our way, doesn't it?
And goes over to Texas.
It does, and we
And then they steal it. Yeah.
we have a number of states that are ahead of us in the weather pattern that cloud seed,
Okay.
and we don't, and they cloud seed for their snow areas. And
Gotcha.
We don't do that, and we probably need to
Maybe look
see
into
what we
that.
can do. Of course, it's by the time they get to us, we're pretty dry.
Yeah.
Well, we do live in a desert. What are you going to do? Of course, I know you wanted to join the talk. Talk a little. Actually, you want to talk NIMI first before we get into that? Let's do that.
we Mike, we had a great meeting yesterday, and we got the opportunity to honor the New Mexico Military Institute Bronco football and volleyball teams. They had just amazing seasons.
Yeah.
It was Bronco Championship Day here in Chaves County yesterday, and the Institute has such an amazing status in this community. I mean, I don't think people really realize the economic impact that the Institute has for us here. I mean, probably if I had to guess, somewhere the general said it yesterday, $35 million a year that the Institute's operation between the cadets and the faculty and all these other activities that go on.
Wow.
It's a staple of this community.
Absolutely,
and it's huge. And so having them there to honor the two teams yesterday was really a special event, especially for me since I'm an alum of the New Mexico Military
And it's
Institute.
historical, too, because this past season was the first year the NJCAA, I think is what it is. The junior college. It's NCAA with the junior college, basically.
Division
This is the
one.
first year they've decided to do this championship playoff format, and then the first ever it happens, the NMMI Broncos football team wins that championship.
Yeah.
That's in the history books forever. Who won the first JUCO championship?
Right.
The
And
Broncos.
we've had some historical players. Roger Staubach played for the Broncos back in the 60s. And so it's a great program. And I give a lot of kudos to Shelby Forstner with the volleyball team. I mean, hell, they're
a perennial powerhouse every year in junior college volleyball, and just came a nose hair short of that championship.
Take it to 5 sets. And, it was really pretty amazing. But it was really an honor to have them there and to recognize their accomplishments for the New Mexico Military Institute and the Corps of Cadets and this community. I mean, they really represented us well.
Absolutely. When COVID's all said and done, and we're back into the normal world again, that is an open campus when all that happens. I highly recommend the community go out there, see the sites at the museum, or at the campus. Go see the museum. Go see maybe taking a game while you're out there. It really is a great experience, and it's right here in our own backyard.
Right, right.
The New Mexico Military Institute is probably the only university that has won a national championship in the NCAA's and the National Junior Athletic Association.
I think Bill was mentioning last hour they're the first championship ever for college in New Mexico for a national championship.
Yep.
Are the first in New Mexico now. That honor belongs to the New Mexico Military Institute.
Yeah.
So
I know, but they won that in 1952, the won the polo championship.
Oh, okay.
So that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
They did.
Now,
A lot of history.
That's an interesting question because I've been here since 2000, so a little over 20 years now. But I used to notice, and I haven't seen it so much in the last couple of years, but if you head like out towards Berendo and everything, you're down by the pecan orchards and all that, you used to see a lot of people play polo out there. I haven't seen it so much, and I'm just, now that you mentioned they were a polo championship, I wonder if that's some of the offshoot from playing polo at NIMI and things, because you don't see a lot of people playing polo, you know what I mean? And so I always thought that was interesting to see them out there on the horses playing polo and everything.
We had a lot of cadets that were left that played at the Institute that came in this area from Midland, El Paso, and Roswell. A lot of people played polo, used to play earlier that were on some of those earlier teams that they had at polo.
I just remember driving by there every once in a while and be like, look, there's people playing polo. Look at that. That's cool.
Well, they're on the Yates property. They're off of Montana is where you're talking about.
Yeah.
So between the Yates and the Andersons and Manats and all these, I mean, that used to be one of the things down in the valley. They'd be down there playing polo or out at the Yates.
Interesting. I didn't realize there's such a big following for polo around here.
Well,
it's pretty cool.
It's kind of lost it. I think everybody's more into pickleball now.
Yeah.
So
my in-laws certainly are. They're very, and pickleball's serious.
Oh yeah.
Like I went to one match and I made a joke and you would have thought I just committed a faux pas. They looked at me like, get that heathen out of here.
Yeah.
Like, we're just playing pickleball, right? But yeah, they don't mess around.
Yeah. Well, let's
talk some nuts and bolts.
Let's get down to business, and I wished the mayor pro tem Jason Perry was supposed to be here also.
To join us this morning, but he's unfortunately unable to.
Yeah, he's under the weather. I was glad to see him at the city council meeting last night, but you could tell
someone needs to tell him to take a little break. He's so busy and doing 20 things. Give that guy a vacation, please.
Right. But anyway, so we've been working, and as you know, and the community knows, the city and the county did a joint resolution to support one another on, the city's asking for $5 million and we're asking for $5 million for stuff out at the Air Center. And a little bit different, but we're looking at building the infrastructure out to the southeast part of the Air Center. And the city's, wanting to build out doghouse and all that other stuff. And we're unified on that because we think the Air Center is the big deal.
Sure.
And so Senator Jennings and other elected, legislators have but Tim has taken the lead on this. And so we had a great, supposed to be in person on Friday last week with the governor, but so Jason Perry and Judy Stubbs, Mike Espiritu with the EDC, which is a key player here, the senator, and myself and Dick Taylor were all on the call. And I think the governor sees the importance of this.
Think we've made some headway up there?
Well, I think so. And I want to let the senator kind of speak to this because it's not just the Air Center, because one of our big projects that we're looking at is 380 to the state line.
Yeah. Go ahead, Tim. Go ahead and kind of fill in the gaps there.
Yeah, when I approached the governor on it 5 years ago, not 5 years ago, but the last time, and she gave us $5 million to do that, to do the project. And we had an estimate from the city engineering department of $2 million to put the water and sewer line down. Well, that's grown to $6 million for some reason. And so, she was a little upset because we were looking at, maybe looking to get $10 million to do. We could do some taxiways in there.
Sure.
We can put
Let's fix it all
water
up.
and sewer but we supposedly we could have done it all for $5 million, but then it didn't work. So we put $3 million of the money into the new into a new hangar there that wasn't in what we were planning on doing, but in the spirit of working to get along, we did. And
sure.
And so now we're looking to do the east side and the south side of that base. And
okay.
And while we look at it, AVEX is out there looking, and they want to expand a lot here, and of course, then the city comes up and wants to take their rent increase up 400%. Well, 400 is pretty high to go up. Maybe it needs to go up some, but 400% is hard to make anybody do, especially if they're going to come back in here and if you want them to do expansion.
Sure.
People are building airplanes. If you recover airplane seats, they take them out of the planes, they fly them to Israel, and then they recover the seats and fly them back. There's no reason they couldn't go to the south side of the base and recover those seats.
Sure.
And I mean, that's the kind of stuff we're looking at. If
Gotcha.
we can, if we can put the water and sewer and the power over there, and if we can do that, we can come together and have some buildings and get it all shovel ready where they can be up and running in 9 months.
Gotcha. So basically, what we're kind of in the big picture here is city and the county are both like, hey, we both agree we got to make major improvements out here. We got to get this thing to being a great investment for the entire southeast New Mexico region. The difference lies in the county thinks we should go from this angle, the city's more from this angle, and is that in the big picture? That's kind of what we're talking about right now.
I think so, and I think that there's some agreement, and you've got some parts of the city council that don't agree with that, and a lot that do. But I mean, I thought it was great that we had a pretty unified for our joint resolution to support. I mean, we had 8 city councilors that were in favor of what we were pushing.
Would
forward.
be a majority even in their circle,
right? Yeah. And so and Jason Perry and Judy Stubbs played a really big part in that.
Sure.
And Tim kind of alluded to the Ascent project. I mean, the first $5 million that the county got for building the infrastructure out to the southeast side of the airport. Well, we pushed that over to the Ascent project, which is going to be huge. I mean, this is all about creating jobs. One of the things that we keep hearing is that if you build hangars, they're going to come. Well, you can't just build hangars. You got to have infrastructure to go with those hangars. You have to have those utilities to go with them.
Yeah.
And so for the southeast side, which takes us out to what used to be Mystic, is now Avex, but now you can take it across Wyo Road into the residential area and provide the water and stuff for the county residents over there, which is a win for the city of Roswell also, because now they've got another customer to provide water to.
Sure. How is and this is I guess this is just a gee whiz question. If because obviously that was a lot of that airport, everything was from the base, 40s, 50s, 60s here. These aren't new buildings and things out there. How much of that stuff's been upgraded since that time? I mean, is there a lot of that still needs to be done that's part of this, or has that been done over time? And I'm just kind of curious, like, is it pretty antiquated, some of the stuff there, or is it pretty somewhere in between state of the art and serviceable for what the industry needs right now?
A lot of the equipment, the base was built in 41.
Yeah.
And so a lot of the equipment after the war and stuff, and it was in from 41 to when they closed the base. And so when a lot of that was hasn't been replaced, and a lot of the metal in the hangars is rusty and stuff, and it needs a new roof on it.
Sure.
A lot of the materials, and but we're getting through that.
Sure.
We didn't have a program from the government to they just walked off and left it and said, here, this place is yours.
Sure.
And so we put our college out there and some things, and that's where we went. So
is kind of the differences where the county and you guys are kind of saying maybe we should look at the infrastructure side first before the buildings, and then cities kind of the other. I mean, I'm just trying to get my head wrapped around where the ideology difference is.
Yeah, well, for the southeast side of the airport, that's definitely the point. So, I would tell you that Mark Fisher, who had Mystic, he did a lot of great stuff out there on the city-owned building that he was in, that Avex is in now, to upgrade it. You're talking 70, 80 years of wear and tear, and you know what it's like here in southeast New Mexico.
Things don't last forever, even the good stuff made back in the 40s.
Right. But Mark Fisher did great work out there to keep that maintained and the maintenance on it and stuff. Over on that side of the area, the base had a golf course over there.
They had an O Club. The course is a golf course.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. So you
can't have an O Club and not have a golf course.
Yeah, you can drive by. You can drive along down there on Wyo Road and kind of see where
it used to be,
fairways and stuff used to be.
Was it a full 18 or like a 9-hole?
It was 18.
It was 18. It was 18 holes.
Okay, very cool.
The military doesn't doesn't skimp when it comes to golf.
Yeah. Oh, I think Holloman only had a 9-hole at the time I was there, but don't quote me on that. I didn't play much golf out there.
I caddied there.
Did you?
So I can remember that for General Agee and had General Bacon out there. We had a lot of those old guys. A guy named Bill Dean used to live down the block from me, who was a tire dealer here in Roswell on First and Main, and he'd get me to go out there to carry. They didn't always have they didn't have all the electric carts we have today.
Yeah. Well, and they're generals. They do what they want.
Right. Well, so with this stuff that we're looking at, Mike, and like I said, we've got a good group, unified group to work on these things, and this is all about building out the Air Center, because that's the diamond in the rough for this area. It really is, and so we have to put politics to the side.
Sure.
And quit making things about Republican and Democrats.
Absolutely.
I have to tell you right now, just watching the news over the last couple of weeks, God bless Joe Manchin and Kristen Sinema out in Washington, D.C. and holding the line and not allowing...
Doing their duty as representatives.
Right.
You're absolutely right. I respect the heck out of that. Absolutely.
And guess what? They're Democrats. And I'm a Republican, and I appreciate them.
Absolutely.
Tim Jennings, he's a Democrat, but I appreciate him. And sometimes you have to put politics to the side when you're trying to get things done for your community.
Good ideas come from where good ideas come from, and I don't care if it was an R that told me, or a D, or an L, or a G, or whatever's out there. If it's a good idea, let's talk about it. You know, and that's and I think that's where, and I don't know if it's modern times or just the way people are raised now. I don't know, but that's where I think we've lost in politics. We've lost that. Democrats and Republicans have been, going at it politically forever. But, at the end of the day, they go, all right, let's go have a drink at the bar. Let's go, let's when it comes to talking policy, they can sit down and say, all right, I know where you're coming from, but if we do this, where nowadays I feel like it's either you're for us or against us. And if you're not with us, then we destroy you. And I'm like, what happened to the phases in between there, you know, and that's, to me, that feels like part of the problem.
That's exactly right. But I want Tim to talk about one of the other big things that we've been working on with 380 to the state line, because that will be huge for this community.
Yeah, roads are something that we've always and let's face it, especially not even so much here in Chaves, but down in Lee and Eddy County, they've been fighting that fight for so long. With oil traffic and things like that, it puts a beat on these roads, and they got to expand it. So, are we getting some headway on 380 here now?
I think things are looking really good. And,
good.
In the 90s, Senator Engel from Portales and I went up and we talked with Governor Johnson, and we got him to go ahead and do the 4 lanes from Alamogordo to Amarillo, and where it's 4-lane all that way, and that opened us up a lot here, and all the way down through the valley. I mean, that used to be a 2-lane road winding down through there, and
so much has changed. That stretch between Roswell and Ruidoso, that stretch when it went to 4 lanes. Safety accidents went away, because almost every year someone was dying during the summer on that road, and that's all gone the way of the dodo because of that 4-lane highway now. So that's a great thing.
And when you look, we're in the same situation right now on 380. We have a huge number of accidents, and you go from Roswell to Tatum and or the Caprock, and you've got all kinds of accidents that are happening on
I hate
there.
that stretch of road.
It's very dangerous, and it's 2-lane. You can't pass, and on race weekends and on Monday and Sunday night, going Texans coming over here, and then when they come back on Thursday, vice versa.
You have traffic, weirdly enough.
It's really crazy.
Yeah.
But if we could, there's a lot of talk about a 3-lane road there, but a passing lane. But that works some. We've got the right of way there for a 4-lane road. If we could put a 4-lane road all the way there, and we just have to go from Roswell to state line, it's about 100 miles, and if we can just get that far, if we had a 4-lane road, it would shame Texas so much that I know that they would pave the rest of the road between the state line and Brownfield, Texas.
Yeah.
And it would be a godsend for us, because it opens us up to so many more avenues for people to come through here.
And really, But even if, say, Texas didn't get on board, the real worst stretch of that is that stretch between Tatum and Roswell, because of the hills, because of some of the stuff. If you're not paying attention and you start whipping out, a car can come out of nowhere, and you didn't realize it was, you thought you had a clear deal. It's a very dangerous stretch of highway if you're not paying attention, even more so than where it's a little flatter when you get, past Tatum and everything.
Right. Well,
But,
given the time of day you're driving it, whether it's early in the morning or late in the afternoon, sun and everything else. But, the governor has at least already appropriated funds to do passing lanes, which is great, and we really appreciate that. But with this infrastructure package that's coming from the federal government down into the states, now is the perfect time instead of just
let's
doing some
fix
passing
it all
lanes,
right. Yeah.
just do it all and do it right.
This is the whole point
now.
of this infrastructure thing. Then by golly, let's do
Right.
it. Whether you're for or against it, here it is. Let's do something with it.
And we have some great resources over in West Texas that we know if we get it done and get it appropriated to do on our side,
Sure.
they're going to be doing it to Brownfield from the state line.
Well, I've noticed that Texas does a very good job of maintaining and being on top of most of their roads and things like that. That's you do notice a difference when you drive that state line and you hit the pavement. And it's just a little bit smoother.
Yeah.
They're just a little,
One of the guys over there ran for Congress over on the west side of Texas, and his name was Ken Hans.
Okay.
And he's very active over there in the Lubbock area. And he was very well known. He ran for the Senate over there. He's very well known. He was head of their university system.
Former chancellor of the
in Texas Tech. I mean, great individual. And there's no doubt that, if we can get this part done, they'll finish it up for us. But, if anybody's going down to Austin or down to Houston in that area,
Dallas.
they all go south and go down to the interstate and go through Pecos, Texas, go on down to Carlsbad.
Nobody's taking that route anymore because of the danger.
The roads are so bad down there, they don't go that. They go 380.
Wow.
And that's only compounded the problem. But so if we can get that to Brownfield, then we can go right ahead and we can be in we'll have a 4-lane road where you can go straight down to Post Texas, turn on 87 or 84 and go on down south into Texas.
Yeah.
It opens the road up to Dallas. I mean, it's really a blessing if we can get that.
That'll be great. Well, hopefully, like you said, now that and it sounds like it's the perfect storm time because of this infrastructure money the feds are bringing in. If we're ever going to have a chance to see funding for these kinds of projects, now's the time to do it. So is now the big push just you guys working with Santa Fe and saying, hey, we're beating the bushes, we're knocking on doors, get the legislators to get some money appropriated for this.
Well, and the legislators are all on board on this, but really and truly, with the types of money that we're pushing for right now, that's pretty much going to have to come from the fourth floor.
Gotcha.
And that's why it's great to have Tim kind of leading the charge on this deal because he has that ability to
get a foot in the door.
Well, get that message
and get
across.
a meeting happening.
I mean, the meeting we had last Friday, I'll just tell you, Mike, was a great meeting. And we talked about all these things, but then we also got into talking about the problems that we have going on here in the state right now with our employment, our teachers, our law enforcement, our healthcare workers, and all this stuff. And because we're struggling right now.
And that's where we need the state's help because at the end of the day, we need them to make our state more appealing to other because we're losing to other states. Because they're offering much more, amenities, services, money, all the almost to the person. Check more there, and I know our school districts are doing everything they can, but the state's got to get involved and say, hey, we got to help. We got to help. Pick up this pot and spruce this pot up for you, so we are a more attractive place for these skilled laborers to come to.
Right. Well, and some of the retirement stuff is part of the problem also.
Yeah.
And so. You've got a lot of teachers who have retired. You have a lot of law enforcement, others that are retired, but you have to protect your pension funds. Okay. And so you can let them go back to work and continue collecting their retirement, but the monies they put in going back to work, well, they still get the retirement and they're still making their paycheck. So, but for me, if I went back to work right now teaching, I would make my salary, but I would still have to put into the retirement fund. But I don't see any of that retirement that I put into after I retire, which I'm good with because I'm back to making a check. I'm collecting my retirement.
Sure.
So we need to make sure that we keep our pensions shored up so that we don't fall off there. But
absolutely. Well, and let's face it, benefits have gone down across the board for everybody. You know, back a healthcare plan 20 years ago with your employer is probably 1,000% better than anything you see today, just because of the world we live in now. You know,
right.
So interesting. So what is it? So really, is it just cracking into the governor's office and making headway, or is there anything we the public can do at this point? I mean, like you said, legislators are on board, so writing them, would that help as ammo for fights here in January for this session to get some money? Or
the one thing about that, Mike, is I wouldn't look at it as a fight.
Okay,
I would look at it as trying to work.
Gotcha.
With and
convince
show,
maybe that's the right
sway. And show how important it is to southeastern Mexico, because that road deal is not just important for Chaves County, it's important for Lee County, for the whole. I mean,
that the road deal opens up Lincoln County to. I mean, it really eases the access to Lincoln County, which is it's a pretty hard hit area as well. We haven't had a lot of snow up at Sierra Blanca, so they need they need the extra people if we can get them here, and it's good for the whole area.
Absolutely, and when we're talking roads in here, I mean, obviously that benefits oil and gas because that they travel these roads, but like you said, it benefits every aspect, tourism and everything. Now, if we're making easier paths for people to come to New Mexico to see the sights and everything, you know what I mean? The easier that is, the more likely they're going to do it, and so it is a win-win for not just oil and gas, but every single person that lives or travels through this part of the state.
Leprino is building we have a plant here Leprino employs about 600 people, but they're building another plant in Lubbock. And so if you look, and I think it's larger than this one, and if that's another 600 people, I mean, that's a lot of milk that's got to come from somewhere.
Sure.
And, so that just means there's going to be that many more milk trucks on the road. And, the plant
it's going to create more traffic on that stretch of highway we're just talking about.
It takes the milk from 100,000 cows for our plant here. And so, that's a lot of cows and a lot of hay and a lot of things that happen. And, so there's enough need for that road, and those are all semis that are going there, and it's it's not too hilly, but there's a couple long pulls that they've got to have on Comanche Hill, and
that's what I was kind of talking about earlier about the danger, because a lot of those little dips and things, you don't see a car buried in there, and you try to pass, and next thing you know, out of the dip comes one of these things. Yeah.
Well, and so in dairies, and so this is where the highway and the air center collaborate and coalesce on this deal, because you get the infrastructure going out there, you get the companies, and you start building out there at the air center. Well, that road to the Texas state line is going to be very attractive to anybody who's wanting to come in and create business
bring in
out
traffic,
there.
Trucks.
Yeah.
Well, I'm kind of, what I'm thinking, obviously we talk, passengers, but also obviously the commercial side and these businesses. But I know milk doesn't travel the way it travels, but I'm wondering, if they're hooking up with the air center, does that give like Leprino a way to, get their product out faster through air travel versus trucks and things? I mean, is that even in the equation for them, or down the road or something?
And so City Councilor Stubbs brought up a really great point that the air center is like the Golden Triangle.
Yeah.
You got rail out there, you've got air out there, and then you've got your road highway system and stuff. And so, but it's a big deal.
Sure.
It really is. It's huge.
I mean, that potential is there where because right now we look at that airfield and we think, okay, yeah, it's great for our personal travel, and obviously as far as the air industry and infrastructure there for painting and doing various works on these planes. But why can't we have that third facet where our transportation part of it, where products and services are coming right through or coming out of Roswell or coming into Roswell through there, in the future? Maybe, instead of using rail or trucks to be able to ship milk or ship Maybe they got a big weird plane tanker they just take off and fly it to DC and it's there in 2 hours. Maybe that, who knows where technology takes it, but that kind of sets the table for us to go that way if the industry needs to.
Well, and like you were saying earlier, and Tim said it also. I mean, you get out to that southeast side of the airport and you start building your back shops out there, or you have some of your other hangars that are out there. Now
their support is on site.
Now you've got support on site.
The whole thing about getting the infrastructure and getting the power, the water, utilities, sewer, everything, getting that in there is that they can come in and build a hangar in 9 months and be up and running. And that is what our goal is so we have the building sites in there to do that.
Sure.
You can put new bulkheads. The 767s are now going from passenger service to freight service. Those are all things where you have to take the seats out, put in new bulkheads, doors, and
overhaul it.
Put those all together. And, even for the 10,000-hour checks and stuff for those big airlines, they all have to take everything out. These are all things that could be done at that air center. And it's just like the seats. Why would you fly them all the way to Israel to recover seats when if you had a big hangar there, all you could do is you could resurface or redo them all the seats.
Sure.
But it's not just there. You can do the same with engines. You can do the same with hydraulic components.
Turn Roswell into a one-stop shop for these guys, basically.
That's why AVEX is such a... I mean, they're expanding their services somewhere. And, with a 400% increase, it probably won't be a Roswell. But if they come something more reasonable or something, then we can go ahead and they'll move in here.
Sure. And if you turn it into that where it's so convenient and accessible for these companies and they're going to set up shop, come home here, and next thing you know, our three-legged little stance of ranching and oil and gas and our other entities here is gonna that leg's gonna get very strong and who knows, because that opens the world for all kinds of diverse opportunities and infrastructure and things here. Once that airport's up and running and there's products going in and out or airplanes that come here for all their overhaul and maintenance needs, or we're kind of the unofficial hub for all these flights coming around the world. It's not even just the United States. Like you said, it's the world here. And I'm telling you, that could be a mega financial boost to this area. We're going from our 50,000 stagnant to we're talking, Las Cruces size or bigger. That's a very big. It
can all happen if we all get together and really look at it and pull. And this is the area, we have a perfect area to do that. The amount of flight time we have around here for training and everything else, we are a perfect place to do it. And one of the other side benefits is maybe we can get all those airplane parts off on the back side of that base and get them where it doesn't look like you're flying into a wrecking yard.
And airplane junkyard, boneyard here. Yeah.
I mean, it's all good. And I know they refurbish planes and get everything going back again, but it's all things we can do. But we need to work at it. You have to look and remember we're one of the best aviation schools, of anywhere around here in our local college. And our college has agreed. They work with all these people on making sure that they have the quality of employees that we have to have.
They see the need. They see the advantage of where they're located and how they can provide a unique service that a lot of colleges of that caliber can't provide.
And they can train the people to do it.
Absolutely.
And that's why it's a win-win situation what we have here. And our college is a very vital role in this whole thing too.
Just telling you, young people, if you're looking and kind of trying to figure out, go get your AP license and go be an aircraft mechanic. I guarantee once you get that AP license, you're going to write your own ticket. If you can make a very good living doing that.
Well, and with what you're saying, Mike, Mike Espiritu and Buck Kunkel, our Chaves County, Roswell, EDC, they're doing a great job with promoting the CTE programs. And I mean, and that's where this deal is at, whether you're talking about air mechanics for Kremlins or you're looking at HVAC. I mean, all these deals, these kids don't realize just how much money they can make going into some type of vocational program.
Or you could do it the hard way, like I did, and go in the military. They'll do it for free, but they're going to train and get you all the same. But in essence, you could just go to that community college and get the same formal training. Not everybody yelling at you and doing all. Now, if you need some discipline and everything, highly recommend it. But if you're not down with all that, you can easily go to this college and get that A&P license and make six figures in a very short time.
Yeah. So you needed discipline?
A little bit. This is the discipline me. We're out of time here. We're running out of time. But if people have questions or anything, is there a resource or something you just that maybe want to talk about it or anything?
I think that you can call the EDC.
Okay. Talk to Mike
with Mike
too.
Yeah.
He does an amazing job.
You
by the way.
catch Jason Perry or myself or Judy Stubbs or anybody else to kind of have these conversations. But we're really looking forward to what's out in front of us. And I'll just tell you real quick. Back a couple months ago, Senator Lujan. It is Lujan, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. He came out and did a tour out there on the base, and he sees it. And I mean it's
It's a gem.
it is the diamond in the rough.
We got a
And
treasure chest right there sitting there.
And so the monies that we have coming from the federal government, if we do this right, put politics to the side, we can make some big things happen for this community.
Oh yeah, big time. I could see us easily being an industry leader in some aircraft stuff because of those facilities out there. If we just
so true
spend some investment into that thing, we could, you talk about like Silicon Valley in California. Maybe we're Airplane Valley here in Roswell. Who knows?
Well, we really appreciate the senator taking the lead on this deal, and he's got a vision and a passion for this community and for southeastern New Mexico, Chaves County, Roswell. A lot of people don't know that Tim was a former Chaves County commissioner before he 2
years
he
ago.
Yeah, that was back when he was caddying out at the base.
Back when bell bottoms were still very popular.
Right.
holy smokes.
We're not going to age anybody here, right?
Let's just say hit TV show was like MASH, maybe.
Maybe it was Gunsmoke.
It was Gunsmoke.
Gunsmoke. Bonanza.
Well, thank you, gentlemen. We appreciate it. And,
thanks, Mike.
Thanks for having us on.
And thanks for doing what you do. And we'll talk to you guys again soon. So have a good weekend,
Sounds
too.
great. You too.
Try not to do too much craziness this week.
Yeah.
Thank you.